Welcome to Sheikh Hamdan's Fans official channel, your most trusted source for the latest updates, rare insights, and exclusive details surrounding His Highness Sheikh Hamdan and the royal family dynamics. If you're here, you're not just a fan, you're part of a global community who admire the poetry, passion, and principles of Dubai's beloved Crown Prince. Today, we bring you something that will not only stir your heart, but completely change what you think you know about Sheikh Hamdan. Get ready, because what you're about to hear is unexpected, raw, and deeply real. Today, we are here with a message unlike any other. A message straight from the heart of Sheikh Hamdan himself. For years, the world has watched and speculated, weaving countless tales around his personal life. Every smile, every poem, every silent glance sparked rumors. But now, the silence is over. His Highness has decided to speak directly to his people, his followers, and those who have waited with curiosity and admiration. He begins this revelation not as a prince, but as a man, with a heart, with choices, with courage. I have a new announcement for the public, he begins, his voice solemn but sure. This is not a matter of duty, politics, or royal obligation. This is about truth and love. A pause follows, the weight of his next words filling the air with suspense. And then, he says it. I am married. I have been married to a woman older than me. A woman fully matured. A woman who knows the true essence of love, patience, and presence. The world may gasp, but Sheikh Hamdan does not flinch. He continues, his tone now rich with personal reflection. I didn't marry the fantasy they created for me, a glamorous, barely formed idea of perfection. I married wisdom. I married depth. I married the kind of woman who doesn't chase spotlights, because she already carries her own light. The confession is like thunder, shaking all assumptions, yet grounding something noble in its wake. He shares how he met her, quietly, away from the lenses of the world, in a place where titles didn't matter. He describes her as graceful, not in the way youth dazzles, but in the way experience softens. She taught me how to listen with my soul. She challenged me when my crown became a shield. She reminded me that strength isn't in silence, but in vulnerability, and love isn't about age, it's about understanding. With every sentence, the illusion of a fairy tale melts into something even more extraordinary. A real story, one that defies norms and celebrates the unexpected. Sheikh Hamdan does not apologize. He stands by his truth, even if it shakes the walls of tradition. I chose her, not despite her age, but because of it. Because with her, love is not a game. It is a refuge, it is deliberate, it is fierce and gentle, and rooted in something that time only strengthens. He shares the moments that made him certain, nights of conversations that stretched till dawn, where no filters existed. She didn't fall in love with the prince. She saw the poet, the man, the child I still carry within, and she never asked me to become someone else. There is no shame in his voice, only pride, the kind that comes from stepping into your truth, even if it walks against the wind. The confession continues with an acknowledgement of society's reaction. I know this will confuse many, perhaps even disappoint some, but I would rather live in truth than rule in silence. My marriage is not a scandal. It is a sacred decision. And if you love me for who I am, then know this is the truest part of me. It's a daring stand in a world that expects royalty to fit neatly into fairy tale molds. He recalls the poetry he once shared with his fans, cryptic verses of longing, presence, and divine femininity. They were about her, he admits. Every hidden line, every whispered metaphor. I was writing about a woman whose soul had lived long before mine ever could. I was learning from her, healing with her, becoming whole. The room is silent, yet alive with new understanding. He doesn't ask for permission. He simply invites the world to expand its view of love. Do not mistake youth for beauty or age for loss. She is not an older woman. She is a woman who carries her years like a crown. And in marrying her, I have honored both her and myself. The words land like poetry, truth wrapped in. Sheikh Hamdan's story breaks stereotypes, not for controversy, but for courage. He has reminded the world that love is not dictated by timelines or expectations, but by the unshakable knowing that two souls, however different by number, are perfectly aligned in purpose. So, as the world listens, Sheikh Hamdan concludes with grace. If love makes me a rebel, so be it. But know this, I am not ashamed. I am awakened, and with that, the curtain closes on speculation and opens on a new era, where truth walks beside royalty, and love, in all its mature magnificence, stands tall. As the initial shock settles, the atmosphere surrounding Sheikh Hamdan's announcement transforms into something more profound. It's no longer about age or titles, but about authenticity, the kind that resonates deep within the human spirit. In a world obsessed with appearances, his voice dares to echo a forgotten truth: real love does not conform. Real love, as he reveals, is a quiet fire that burns steadily, not a fleeting spark that dies in daylight. She is not my secret, she is my sanctuary, he says, a rare vulnerability cracking through the polished image the world has always seen. With her, I take off my crown and rest. She doesn't worship me, she understands me. She doesn't speak for the world to hear, she whispers truths that steady my soul. These words are not meant to provoke, they are meant to heal, to inspire others who have hidden their hearts out of fear of judgment. He shares that there were moments when he questioned himself. Not because of doubt in her, but because of the expectations placed on him by heritage and power. There was a time I believed I owed the public a storybook, he admits. But a lie beautifully wrapped is still a lie, and I could not pretend when I had already found my truth in her eyes, eyes that have seen more of life than mine, yet hold a love that makes me feel young in the best ways. It was not a marriage made to impress, it was made to last. She doesn't fit the fantasy, but she is my reality, Sheikh Hamdan confesses. She is not the face on the cover, but the voice in the silence. When I am surrounded by noise, it is her calm that brings me back to myself. And suddenly, the world begins to understand, this is not just a marriage. This is a masterpiece written in the ink of resilience, courage, and unmatched intimacy. He describes the moment he knew he had to stop hiding. We were walking one evening, he recounts, not as royals, just two souls. And she looked at me and said, "You don't need the world's approval to be happy. You only need your own peace." That night, I wrote her name into every line of my poetry. That night, I vowed not just to love her in private, but to honor her in public. The reaction from within the royal circles, he admits, was mixed. Some warned him of tradition. Others advised silence. But he stood firm. What is tradition without heart? What is royalty if it denies its own humanity? He asks. I would rather be remembered as a man who loved bravely than a prince who lived behind a mask. The people, too, will have their opinions. But I ask you, he says, facing the camera with rare stillness, to look beyond the headlines. Look into your own lives. How many of you have loved in silence? How many of you have denied your hearts to please others? This is your mirror. I'm not asking for applause. I'm offering you permission to be real. He emphasizes that this isn't a fairy tale ending. It's a beginning, and one they walk through together. She is not here to decorate my world. She is the reason it has structure. She reminds me that leadership without love is hollow. And when I come home, it is not the palace that holds me. It is her embrace. There is power in choosing someone the world doesn't expect. And there is even more power in standing beside them, proudly, when the world watches. This is my vow to her, and to you all. I will not hide her to protect my image. I will honor her to protect my soul. She is my partner, not my shadow. As the final words settle into the hearts of millions, Sheikh Hamdan bows his head gently, not in shame, but in reverence. This is my announcement to the public. I have married love, not expectation. I have chosen a woman whose years have only made her more luminous. And with her, I am no longer just a prince. I am a man who is finally free. The screen fades to black, but the echo of his truth will ripple for generations. And so, with the world now watching through a different lens, Sheikh Hamdan breathes lighter, as if a weight has finally been lifted from his chest. There is an unmistakable softness in his demeanor, a quiet liberation that only truth can bring. I have lived under the scrutiny of perfection for most of my life, he reflects. But love, real love, does not demand perfection. It welcomes the imperfect, it nourishes the forgotten parts of us. And she, my wife, has loved every flawed, wounded, and hidden part of me without hesitation. He speaks now with a poetic rhythm, his voice wrapping itself around each word with intention. There is something magnetic about a woman who knows who she is, who has nothing to prove, and everything to give. She does not compete, she complements. She does not chase attention, she commands respect without ever asking for it. I have seen many beauties pass through the halls of fame, but none have stayed in my memory like the stillness of her presence. Her beauty is not youth, it is legacy. There were, he admits, many who tried to love the image of him, The prince, the poet, the public figure. But she loves the man who doubts himself. She's seen me cry, she's heard the silence behind my smiles. And when I am at my lowest, she doesn't try to fix me. She just stays, with grace. That is love, that is power, that is what I chose. With that, the image of royal romance is redrawn, not in gold and glitter, but in depth and devotion. To the younger generation, he offers a message that defies modern illusions. You've been taught to chase sparkles, to swipe through lives like options. But love is not convenience. It is commitment, it is being present with someone who may not be trending, but is timeless. Do not be afraid to choose someone who has lived, someone who will teach you how to live better. My choice was not reckless. It was revolutionary. In closing, Sheikh Hamdan's eyes gleam not with rebellion, but with purpose. To those who say I've broken the mold, I say, the mold needed breaking. To those who whisper doubt, I welcome your curiosity. But to those who understand what it means to love bravely, to love beyond boundaries, and to honor a soul rather than a surface, I thank you. This is not just my journey. This is a reminder for every heart listening. Choose love that roots you. Choose love that stretches you. And when you find it, no matter what form it takes, protect it with everything you have. The screen fades, but the silence is now filled with something rare, the sound of truth finally